Okay, disclaimer, how you do this in your shop, that's up to you. But it's winter time and I want to do some painting, so I have a heated garage, I can do it. Normally, I would take the wife's car out, but I'll just cover it up. It's dirty anyways. That's actually important. Overspray won't stick to dirt. We're going to be spraying here. I'm not worried about overspray. This is latex. You know, we're not painting car paint. All the stuff that I want to paint is ready. And what I do for air filtration, and this works pretty damn good. You can see I got snow on the floor. That's to keep the overspray down to a minimum from sticking to my floor. But what I've got is 4 air filters. These are cheap 2020 box, or a 20 centimeter or 20 inch, I guess. Yeah, 20 inch by 20 inch box fan. That's from the Orange. This filter's done. So that one's garbage. It's too clogged. It just won't move air anymore. So I've got 4 of these guys. You can see that each one of them progressively less overspray. But I know that they're working because my fan doesn't have orange blades. So all I've got to do is set a new filter. I use the pleated guy up top, and I'm going to actually mist him with water. And the reason being is then guaranteed it'll trap all the overspray, and I don't get overspray all over everything. Seems to work pretty good. This is what I've been doing for many, many years. Of course, I will wear a mask, but what I'm really concerned about is getting overspray over absolutely everything, and this seems to minimize it pretty good. Hang on, I got to set up for paint. Okay, hopefully you can hear me over all the various fans. The furnace unfortunately kicked in. Normally I don't actually like a lot of airflow in here, but this is running. So the fan is on full blast, pointed down, and it sucks all the overspray into that thing. And I've already got this wet, and that just guarantees that overspray sticks to that first layer as much as humanly possible. I've got everything that I want to paint over here to the side. The first thing I'm going to paint is going to be this. My gun is loaded. I've already done all the colors that I want. There's my gun. This is the black airbrush paint that we supplied you guys with is ready to shoot. You don't really need to thin it. My gun is set up. So just like when I was doing the brush, really light first coat. We don't want a lot of paint here. So this is awkward for me to do because I'm trying to do it with the camera, but I normally would hold this right over top of that. We can just go like this. And all I want on this first coat that's what I want. You can tell that I'm not even painting it really. What I'm trying to do is just like with the brush, I'm trying to seal those edges. Right? I'm hitting the paint straight on, not at an angle. I don't want the paint going underneath that tape because I don't want any bleed through. So I'll leave that. That's good. I'll set it over where I can dry it. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the wing. You can see I'm already painting that black. The same idea. I want to come in nice and square. We're committed now. If I get overspray on the white Depron, that's not good. You can kind of clean it off afterwards with alcohol, but it'll never look the same. So that's it. Again, it's not this first coat. I'm just trying to seal that tape edge, right? Sometimes I guess they call it a cut coat in the automotive world. But you can see I'm good. I got no fish eyes. I got no places where it's not sticking. All right, so let that flash. And by flash, what we mean, we'll let that flash off. You know, you give it 20, 30 seconds, and then it just, it evaporates. It's pretty quick drying stuff. You can see, I mean, that's barely even used any paint at all. Keep your gun clean, all these little tips and tricks. But I'm gonna let that flash, pause the video, and then we'll set up for the second coat. Okay, I hope you can hear me. Now I got a mask on. Didn't have a mask for that first coat. All right, so now we're gonna get serious. We're gonna get a little heavier. Not a lot. My gun is still set up. I put some fresh snow down. And again, I start the squeeze before I get there. And I want the gun to be 90 degrees to my paint surface. So this is, again, awkward. Only because I'm trying to video this. But anyways, this is how it goes. Now you can kind of see that I'm still not laying this on. Sure, I'm out of paint. I still didn't lay that on super thick, and I don't need to. I'll probably do 3 coats, and that's good. So I put it back over here where I can dry, and I'm out of paint, so I gotta go reload. I'll be right back. Okay, reloaded. I don't actually recommend people paint with it like this. It's so wasteful. You're wasting so much paint. But it's January. I thought I'd just do a video, show you how it's done. This is how all the orange and all the models is done, by the way. Again, very wasteful. Uses a lot of paint. You can see it's kind of like spraying all over the place. And there, second coat done. Look how black the filter is already. Yeah, when I did, I remember I painted 13 airplanes orange, and it was the tails, the tips, and the nose. And then I don't know if you can see, but by the time I was done, my entire garage floor was orange. It's just, but it did its job. The filters, you know, they did their job, and I could breathe in here. I still have a mask on, but I didn't. The important thing is I didn't get overspray all over everything. And again, just use a brush. I'm just showing you this more than anything to convince you not to do it. It's very messy stuff. Okay, just to speed things up, I went and used the hair dryer. Just in case you're wondering what brand of airbrush paint, it's this stuff. I think this is available pretty much at every Michaels in Canada. If not, you can find it at a lot of automotive stores, but it is actually ready to use airbrush. You can reduce it. I don't ever need to do that. Generally speaking, I just turn the pressure up a little bit. I get good results. This is about 20 bucks, and this will paint a lot of stuff. So I've maybe used, like, for all this black that I've done with you guys, for the entire 13 models, I've used half of this. But airbrushing, just this one little bit, I've probably used, you know, an eighth of the container. So airbrushing is really inefficient. I don't actually like doing it, but it gives really good results. So that comes the hard part. Spraying's the easy part. The hard part is deciding, is that thick enough? Now you can see the packing tape, super opacity, you can't see through it. But the foam, I don't know. What you don't want to do, when I pull this tape off, that's a one and done deal. Hope like hell that it's thick enough. So I'm just going to give it one more quick little hit. Make sure the black is black. So I like to be dark and black. Out of the sash. I don't know if you can even see that, but if the trailing edges aren't perfect, I can touch up a little bit with a brush. You know, so there, I mean, that looks black. I mean, we're not too carried away for weight. Spin it around. Trying to keep it over top of my air cleaner here. I can actually have a hole in my wall, and on the roof I can actually make a proper paint booth, but this is just so quick and there's really no need. This setup works pretty good. Okay, that looks pretty black. So we're committed to that. And now you can kind of look. You see the filter. You know that's one paint. Obviously it's black. If I just lift it up, there's a little bit of black there in the fan, but for the most part, the fan did its job. You can tell by the RPM change that, yeah, it's clogged. That's what it's for. You know, the fan's, I think, 40 bucks. Pack of 4 filters, 12 bucks. You can see all the orange, and then you can see the orange on the floor. It's starting to turn a little bit black, but that's okay. This is what this shop is for. So while we wait for the paint to dry, I'm always waiting for stuff to dry. Glue to dry, paint to dry, whatever. Still got my gloves on. You see I got a little bit of paint on my hands. There's my mask, just in case you're wondering. I use these, it's mostly for particulate, but they do have a little charcoal in it. I don't smell anything with these on. It doesn't take much. Again, it's latex paint. It is acrylic latex paint, so you don't want the acrylic in your lungs. But we're not talking two-part chemicals. Anyways, take care of yourself. You only get one life. So I'm now, unfortunately, there's a lot of waste. I'm trying to get everything out of the container into there. Clean your gun, clean your gun, clean your damn guns. You got to keep these things clean or they don't work. They're not hard to clean. The parts come apart real quick. And I will pull this apart. There's my needle. Right, I've got my tray because I don't want to spill this on my nice blanket. You can see I'm dripping and it's going to drip. I'm going to run, actually, I'll clean this out and then I'll fill that with methyl and shoot it in there. And I've got my little pipe cleaners. I'll clean this all up. If I have to, I'll take this off and get in there and get everything nice and clean. If you keep these things clean, there's a lot of tiny little orifices like these guys. And if you keep everything clean from day one, religiously, like I said, I've had this gun for over 20 years and I've painted, I don't know, 100 models probably. So latex paint, car paint, I've painted everything with this, but I keep, as soon as I'm done, I clean it. Nothing better to do while the paint dries. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this all up. And then by then the paint will be dry and we'll pull the tape off and see what we got. I'll leave the fan running. I'm just cleaning the air. That's what I'm using it for. But here's a quick tutorial on the gun settings. So this thing is adjustable. Let's see if I can do this. This is adjustable left and right. And that determines whether your fan is vertical or horizontal. And I'm just spraying alcohol. I'm just cleaning the gun, by the way. So normally I kind of like to like this because I tend to go left and right. This little dial adjusts whether this is a fan pattern or like a dot. So just watch the fan, watch the spray. Okay, you can see the difference. This guy at the back, he adjusts how much material you're getting out. So if I close it all the way, you see nothing. And then as I open it up, I get more spray. And then the little guy down on the bottom is just my air valve. So, you know, they all vary. Just playing around with all the settings. And I'm just going to run alcohol. You can see. There. So I'm going to take it apart one more time, clean it all up, keep your guns clean.